Please welcome to the stage from Carbmee, Christian Heinrich.
Good morning, everybody. Warm welcome from me, coming from Germany. My name is Christian. I'm co-founder and CEO of Carbmee, and in the next 4 to 5 minutes, I try to bring you, thanks for that great presentation before, from the shop floor to the boardroom, because as also Ingrid mentioned in the beginning, it's at the end all about P&L impact, and especially if we are talking about sustainability. This year was a challenging year. Maybe we should not even talk about sustainability, we should directly talk about P&L. What do we do? What did we do? 4.5 years ago, we started with a hypothesis that carbon will be the new currency, global currency, even be more global than the US dollar or India rupee or whatever, because basically everybody is consuming, producing, and trying to reduce carbon. It's just a question, where is the global market and how do you translate it? Right now we came to the conclusion that even recycling quota, waste reduction, water reduction also will be translated into carbon emissions, because this is the new KPI and only the one new KPI the CFOs want to understand, because they do not want to have 28 new KPIs in their carbon accounting sheet. So this is why we have invented the environmental intelligence system. It's a little bit like an ERP system on a transactional level for GHG emissions, which you can also use for recycling quota effects, water reduction effects, etc. We are right now around about 70 global presence. We are working basically with global companies with big and complex supply chains, having a scope 3 impact between 50 and 99%. And we are also hyped, I would say, from the Gartner colleagues. I don't know why they like us, but maybe because that's the next innovation coming out of Germany after SAP. I don't know. Maybe some of you know that picture. I'm sure many of you know definitely the movie. And this is basically why we have started our hypothesis. Transactional carbon accounting will be the winner. And this is also the reason why we don't believe in dashboard only or in reporting only solutions. We are definitely here to optimize, to reduce, and also to support from an eco-friendly product design, because that's basically becoming the new Louis Vuitton or whatever out of your industry. And therefore you need to have transactional data. Something like, from cost breakdowns, you need to make emission breakdowns. That's, for example, the procurement thing. The C-suite is more interested in the big picture. Then someone needs to do the reporting. But how can I do my ESG reporting? In Europe, we have CSRD, for example. If I am not able to calculate the E factor, so E1 to E5, for example, beginning with the scope 1 to 3 emissions, if you just calculate scope 3 on a spend-based estimated level, it's inaccurate up to 30%. And we do not need to be an engineer here to understand that's then basically bullshit. We rather should not even report about it. So we need to come on an activity-based level, ideally supplier-specific level, because that's all about collaboration. We all only win if we can collaborate with our suppliers, because usually, especially in some complex supply chains like ours, the real innovation is done by the supplier. I think that honest we should be, to be honest. This is basically our core. So in the center you see our offering, the corporate carbon footprint, the product carbon footprint, and the supply chain carbon footprint. Supplier engagement is a very big module, because you know how complex it is. You have some farmers. We have, for example, a seed producer we are working with globally. They do not even have notebooks or internet, definitely, but there are others which are already pretty high. We have super strong demand right now coming out of India and Asia. So that's super exciting for us, not only the DACH or the European thing due to the historic regulation. And we are also working with many US customers without having any sales rep on the ground yet in the US, to be honest. But we have clients like Boeing. We did a nice pilot, which we will talk about with Coca-Cola already. We have Lear Corporation, ITW, and Bombardier in Canada, just some examples. Definitely on that transactional level, you can then also be audit proof. Some insights, how does that look like? Basically for us, data is the core, because without data you cannot improve. Peter Drucker mentioned that already. You can only improve what you can measure, and that's the same here. We need really to come to the next level. Let's call it from the PowerPoint savings presentations from the boardroom after the nice ESG discussions and having some nice lighthouse projects collecting waste on the beaches. We really need to come to the next level where we are coming transactional. This is the accounting thing. IFRS is also pushing heavily, and therefore you basically need to have something like what we call an ERP system for GHG management. And some words just about our pilot, which we did with Coca-Cola. I think in the last 6 to 8 months, we just started with a small sample, 6 suppliers. We know that's nothing, but it's just a test, because it's always the question and the challenge, how can we get primary data from our clients? So get rid of email exchange, Excel calculations, which are not verified, which are basically useless. So we do basically a pre-calculated supplier carbon footprint, where you can also add recycling quota, water reduction, waste reduction. This is being verified also from external third parties like EY, PwC, etc. And then you can start the transformation plans, climate transition plans per supplier. If you have 10,000 suppliers, you usually do the hotspot segmentation and analyze according to material and supplier criticality, and step by step you are rolling it out. And then it's becoming the fourth dimension in your procurement decisions, because you have internal carbon prices. So Philip Morris, for example, they have right now announced in their statement, they have 150 euros per ton carbon price. So this is basically the orientation. We can give an average right now. It depends on the industry, also on the category. If you are steel intense or sustainable packaging intense, it's maybe even higher than 150 euros, but it's between 50 euros or dollars and 150 euros. And this is the reason why we see a very strong P&L impact. Some of the customers, just some examples, also Cola, for example, from the US, Maersk is pretty clear. I think it's important to work according to global standards, because otherwise it's also useless, like just an email or an Excel file. And that's basically the beginning of the reduction, what you see here. And those numbers are not our own numbers. London-based independent research institute Verdantix analyzed that for us after the interviews with our customers. And the PCF means product carbon footprint. I think it's pretty cool. I am mostly proud on the 100% audit proof, because this shows that it's real data we are talking about. This also shows that you can start massaging your suppliers. And I use the term massaging. At the beginning it's friendly, then it's becoming unfriendly, and then it's becoming ugly. So basically my final statement, just to give this to you, because I have spoken a lot to chief sustainability officers in the past 5 years, and it's really a lot. And the regulation changes, how important is what, talking about biodiversity, about normal diversity, about whatever. We really consolidated everything down to that, because this is what the boardroom wants to see, and we have this internal and external carbon prices. So this is basically our key message. I also made this slide for the World Economic Forum this year in the beginning. And this is just the beginning from a new currency. That's our statement. Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure talking to you. We are also downstairs at the booth, really excited to talk with you, connect with us, connect with me via LinkedIn in person. So have a wonderful day, and thanks again for the invite.